Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and congratulations to Team India for winning the very first T20I at the Manuka Oval in Canberra. And some very interesting moments in the match. The number one, the concussion substitute of Ravindra Jadeja, Yuzvinder Chahal coming in and also proving to be quite the game changer. Let's get into the details of that. I'm joined by Bora Majumdar, Pragyan Oja, and Deep Das Gupta. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
And congratulations to all of us. And like I said, very interesting moments in the match. And let's start directly with something that we got to see, that Chahal was not named in the playing 11. He comes and changes the game as a substitute of concussion to Ravindra Jadeja. Borada, your take on that?
See, I was asking Deep this very question because I just wanted to clarify that. I asked him 15 minutes back. I felt, and I'm saying it, I've tweeted that India played within the rules of the game. Manas Labuschagne replaced Steve Smith last year. We know what happened. India played within the rules of the game, and who was match referee? David Boone. Who's David Boone? Former Australian. And David Boone, being ICC match referee, wouldn't have allowed if it was against the rules or something that was not permitted within the rules of the game. So yes, you can say that India used the rules because there was no physio who came out during Jadeja's batting. But as the rule states, at any point in time, you can, check for a concussion issue. And if the match referee is convinced that India was very much within their rights to ask for a replacement, they did that. And that's about it. India played within the rules of the game and have won the game fair and square. Anybody else has anything to say about it? That's their problem.
Okay. Pragyan, let's discuss this concussion substitute. And of course, the fact that Chahal was not named in the playing 11, it did raise an eyebrow from your end in the pre-show as well.
For every rule or every law, there is a loophole. And I think this favored the Indians. Had that ball not hit Jadeja's helmet, I think the matter of fact is that he was struggling with his hamstring. It's good that it ended well and we got this substitute for concussion. But as Buriada said, well within the rule, India played it. But I'm very sure this will not go down well with the Aussies. They will be questioning because Jadeja had a hamstring issue, but because of that ball hitting his helmet, and he continued batting well, he got the substitute. That is something which definitely they will question, and that was the discussion was between Justin Langer and David Boone. What we saw before the game started, it's absolutely fine. As long as you're within the rule or the law, it's absolutely fine. And Chahal, yes, this was a question. We were surprised, Chahal not making into the 11. But when you, as I told you, it's when you're playing abroad, it's very difficult for you at times. And if you look at the team, Virat Kohli was confident of having Washington and Jadeja playing, because Jadeja with the that form he's carrying from ODI, he was a sure shot. And Washington Sundar, the way he's bowling in the power play, as Deepai and we were discussing in the pre-show, he bowls in the power play, and the other bowlers, you can use them in the middle, like Natarajan or someone like Shami has that cushion of coming in the middle and giving you that couple of overs of medium pace and then bowling in the death. So it was according to the plan. So it was not like they didn't want Yuzi Chahal. But at times some decisions are tough, but what the way things went, I think I'm really happy. Chahal got wickets, we won the first game, and I told you I was very confident of our boys, the way they had a brilliant IPL, everybody of them, and it showed really the way they started, the way they bowled, the way they batted.
Yeah. But these, like Pragyan said, in the broader spectrum of things, with Jadeja, who gives India the extra push, we get about 160. Then Chahal comes in and gets us those crucial wickets. Had Chahal not been there, would we see this result today?
I don't know. We will never know whether had Chahal not been there, would it be the same? I don't know. But I think the whole thing has come up because of the fact that Jadeja had a hamstring injury and he limped off, right? So that was the major concern, that it seemed like he was obviously not 100% fit. Whether he would come out and bowl his 4 overs, that was under question. I think all that stems from that fact. Now, it is well within the rules, and it is something that you can't really challenge at times, because what does the rule say? The rule says you will get a concussion substitute for like-to-like players for the remaining of the game. The remaining of the game meant of fielding, supposed to bowl those 4 overs, you get a runner like Jadeja who will bowl 4 overs. So I think according to the rules, yes, obviously there's a concussion test. The doctor has to give a certificate. Mind you, the doctor is not just the Indian doctor. There is the doctor from, beg your pardon, doctor at the venue as well, who will give that certificate saying, yes, he needs a break and somebody else needs to go on. So anyone who's saying that it's only about the Indian dressing room, no, it's not only about the Indian dressing room. David Boone, the match referee, has to agree, which he did. The doctor there at the venue also has to agree that they need a substitute. So there are a lot of moving parts, and all the moving parts, okay, it worked in India's favor. Let's put it this way. So that's the reason the whole hue and cry. And listen, there hasn't been an India-Australia series without controversy. So why will this be any different? And it shouldn't be, actually.
I like that. Well, we are being joined by our Aussie mate. We've got Norman, who is joining us on the show. So let's start up this show also. Let's see what he has to say. And of course, we'll also have Rajan in a bit. Hey, Norman.
Hi, everyone. Look, I think it's totally against the law to bring in a player, especially if you win. No, the reality is it was.
That's a fair point, Norman.
I have to quickly say that I think the fact that we had Jadeja replaced by Chahal, and you say it's like for like, I think Chahal's fielding is, I think, substandard. So I think actually it was somewhat of a drop, but his bowling was absolutely sensational today. He clearly took 3 wickets, and with Natarajan as well taking 3. I think it was a magnificent performance. And I did say before the game that actually I thought India would win. I think there's a lot more stability around the Indian team in the T20 format. The Australian team seemed to lack that. Darcy Shaw was probably the only one selection I agree with, perhaps with Enrique's, but I thought there were a couple of misunderstandings there with their selections. I'm totally against having 3 keepers for 3 formats of the game. I thought that was rather unusual. I scratched my head about some of the selections of the Australian team, to be very honest with you, but I think India got it right, and they batted sensationally well, considering all. Rahul did very well, and yet again, Jadeja proved himself as a batter as well as a bowler. I thought it was a fantastic performance, and I'm really impressed with the way they're playing. It's as if they've been playing for a long time, the T20 format. Having gone through quarantine, having gone through the whole struggle they've had to get out here, I think it's an amazing start. And Australia need to watch out because they've been beaten quite convincingly, I believe.
All right. Thank you so much, Norman. Thanks a lot for those generous words. And all the best for the next 2 T20Is. Thanks a lot.
I'm inside as well because there were moths outside, and more importantly, there are too many Indian fans getting very, very excited out there, and I would have been pelted with abuse. I mean, I just couldn't handle it any longer. It was just horrible. And you guys are being so kind to me. Boria, you're smiling yet again. It's great to see Boria smile.
Yeah, good time to go up to sleep now, Norman.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't got very far to go, which is very handy.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for your time, Norman. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure.
Norman.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Well, Deep, in the preview, we were talking about, in fact, you made a point there that when regarding the team selection, that Ravindra Jadeja should be pushed up the order. Did you say that? Yeah. Did you mention that?
Yeah, I think he merits a place a little higher the way he's batting right now. I'm happy to go with him as a proper batsman as well at this point in time. Somebody who will obviously give you overs, but somebody you can depend on as a batsman. And listen, everything went off really well. Chahal comes in as a concussion substitute, picks up 3 wickets. But end of the day, let's say if this hadn't happened, then I don't know. India could have struggled. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously Chahal bowled brilliantly. The other important thing is now that Chahal has bowled so well, what does India do with the second T20Is? I know there's a couple of days to go for that, but I think that's a good headache. But a headache nonetheless for the team management to figure out what do they do with the team combination then.
Yeah, we're spoiled by options. So, Boyada, what is your take on the fact that Ravindra Jadeja should be pushed up the order?
I don't think if you really see that batting lineup, where does Ravindra Jadeja fit in higher up? That's a question. I don't see him coming further up. Having said that, he's as good as Shakib Al Hasan on current form. And if this kind of batting form continues, which has been the case over the last year and a half, think of how important Ravindra Jadeja becomes in the World Cup on Indian soil. And thereafter in the 50-over World Cup as well. He's a genuine all-rounder. For the next match, from what I saw, the way Ravindra Jadeja limped off and the hamstring issue, I do not see Ravindra Jadeja playing. So the final question that Deep was asking, I think it will be Yuzvendra Chahal because Ravindra Jadeja's injury seemed to me that they will not want to risk him because do not forget, he is part of your test schema as well. So he might be needed for the red ball series. Having said that, I thought, and I've been saying this for the longest time, it's a 6-match series, it's 2-all. 2 to go, let's get those 2 and finish it off 4-2. It is not about T20Is or ODIs. I've been saying this. Play it as a 6-match series. It's now 2 down to 2-all. You've got it back to 2-all, finish it off. You've got Australia on the mat. And again, I say it, without David Warner, this Australian side in the white ball format is half the side. Just like Rohit Sharma's not there, it has evened things out. Steven Smith.
We've lost your audio.
I'm saying at 140 for no loss to come and score runs. And to score runs when you've all of a sudden got 9 runs and over asking rate, a wicket has fallen, Ravindra Jadeja gone, so Yuzvendra Chahal is a good spinner there. Pragyan actually made this point about get him against quality bowling up front. Don't give him singles. Try and squeeze that pressure on Steven Smith. You will have him under strife. And you are seeing that with the Australians. Finally, my point is India is a better T20 side now. You've played a hell lot of T20 cricket thanks to the IPL, and that comfort is showing.
So can I just add, when I said pushing Jadeja up the order, what I meant was change the combination and get another bowler in. So Chahal would have been anyways in the team that I was talking about. So Jadeja comes in anyways. So you play with an extra bowler there and kind of depend a little more or show a little more faith on his batting. That's what I meant. Not the same combination.
Yeah. Yes, you did mention that you would go with 6 bowlers in the combination, right? All right. Well, with that, moving on to the other part. Natarajan, for you, Pragyan, how brilliant was he?
He's been a brilliant story, isn't he? You know, the journey that he had till the age of 19, he wasn't playing cricket. Normally, if you see a cricketer, they play all the age group cricket, you know, and after 19 years, you know, then you have this journey and then you end up playing for the country. It was tremendous. Even we heard Virender Sehwag say, you know, a lot of eyebrows were raised when he picked him for the Kings 11 Punjab. Everybody started saying Natarajan for 3 crores, guy who's not played domestic cricket, he's just played TNPL. And you know, that says a lot about this boy, the character that he has, and he's delivered. Straight away, he played the last ODI. You know how he plays. He is picked for the T20. He goes with the team, and then you know, one of our boys, Saini, has a stiff back. He's been taken into the ODI side. He plays the 3rd game, replacing Saini, and gets you those crucial wickets, and your team wins. And then in T20, you know, it is his domain. He bowls those Yorkers, he bowls those tight lengths, and win you games. It's been a brilliant story. It's truly inspirational.
Yep, very, very inspirational. Would you like to add to that, Deesa, for Natarajan there?
I mean, to be honest, obviously inspirational, the way he bowls. And listen, the good part is he's not in his early 20s. He's 29, so he understands his game a little better, and that's what I guess is helping him to also adjust to the change or the change in the level that he's playing. So a year ago, he was playing TNPL, and basically he was also playing Vijay Hazare. I mean, last season he played for Tamil Nadu in the limited overs format, even played Ranji Trophy, and he did all right. So I think what is happening with him is he's a lot more confident. He's more assured of himself, and that is showing in his bowling as well. Because listen, he has the skill set. A lot of people have skill sets, but end of the day, when you go to that level, the problem is because of nerves or whatever, you cannot execute those skill sets. And I think because he's so comfortable, he understands himself. I think he's very well settled mentally. He's very sorted. It comes across like that, even though I don't know him personally, but it comes across as somebody who's mentally settled. So for him, I think it's easier to settle down and trust his skill set and say, listen, this is what I can do. I'll try my best and see what happens. And he's been absolutely brilliant. At least for T20 cricket, I see him around for a while. The way that he's bowling, his body language, the way he's settling down. 50 overs, for me, the jury's still out. 10 overs. Hopefully he can manage, because India can do with a left arm seamer.
Okay. All right. So we've got a couple of questions from our viewers. Let's start with Amit Sadhu. He's asking, do you see Hardik at number 5 slot, just like the MI team? Deep?
Hardik at 5, yeah, why not? I mean, like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing Hardik at 5 and Jadeja at 6, 7, someone like Washington Sundar, 8 Rahul Chahar, because Rahul Chahar can also bat, and then see how it goes. I mean, listen, this is a tactical thing. Either you go with an extra bowler or you go with an extra batsman. Till the time Hardik can contribute with 2 overs or 3 overs, he might not need to bowl all 4 overs. But if you can start contributing with 2-3 overs, then I think then it's a different story. Then obviously this works absolutely fine. But till the time he's not bowling, you can try that out. And in the meantime, you'll also see how Hardik and Jadeja are managing at a little higher in the batting order.
Right. Hardik at 5 for you, Pravyan, though?
Yeah, I think it's a very good point what Deep Bhai said, and he's good with that slot. You know, he's been batting for MI, and even in one-days also, he looks comfortable and he's in a good form. So I think he's good there, and he knows exactly what he has to do there. So it's very important, the clarity of thoughts that you need to have in a particular batting position or when you're bowling. So he's got that clarity. Only thing is that we as cricket fans would hope that he comes back to the same fitness as far as bowling is concerned, and then we'll see a different Indian side.
Yeah. Well, Borega, welcome back. We've got a question for you. We've got Chandrakala Mauli asking, when Bhuvneshwar is back into the squad, who will be over 3 fast bowlers for the upcoming T20 World Cup?
Firstly, it's too far away. Secondly, you are actually assuming that all of the rest of the boys are fit. So that's with the volume of cricket that is to be played, including another IPL and the England series and all of that, because you are actually playing a 5-test series in England in June and July, where you will play, all of your premier fast bowlers will play. So one has to see if all of them turn out to be fit for that period. But if you really see 1, 2, 3, I do see a left armer in the mix. I'm very, very happy and impressed with the way Natarajan is shaping up. We have been trying to figure out a left armer. So my number 1 has to be Jasprit Bumrah, and number 1 by a million miles in the T20 format, in white ball cricket. So also in test cricket in a way now. He's your premier number 1. Natarajan, because of the variety, I think will definitely be in the mix. And the third position will perhaps go to anybody between Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, Mohammad Shami, Deepak Chahar. I thought all of them, can come in. But it's too far away. I think it's a premature question, because the amount of cricket that is to be played over the next 12 months, and because of COVID, you're now going to cramp more and more games, including domestic cricket and IPL and England series and everything in that next 12-month calendar. So you've got to see how people hold up.
Yeah. Well, before you joined us back, actually, Pragyan was telling us about the early life of Natarajan. Do you have a story about the man to share with us?
Yeah, and for me, what stands out is what he has done. More importantly than his early life, he has struggled, and all of that is fine. I mean, several people have. If you go down the history of Indian cricket, you have seen former Test cricketers dying begging on the highway. And there, Deep's predecessor as a wicketkeeper, if you think of the 1932-36 series, D.D. Hindlekar, there was a cabaret organized in Bombay in 1949, and some few hundred rupees was raised in that cabaret to help D.D. Hindlekar's family. So it is not as if that Natarajan is the first person from an underprivileged background to play the game for India. What stands out for me, I mean, the Natarajan story is a fantastic one, but what stands out for me is what he has done. For all of us, our money is important. The money that you and I earn, Pragyan earns, Deep earns, are our own money. I mean, it is difficult to part with money because each of us have families. What has Natarajan done? And by the way, he's no Virat Kohli that he's worth some 700 crores or whatever. From the IPL money that he earned, he set up an academy in his village so that if anybody wanted to play the game like he wanted to, he or she would not struggle and could now come and use the facilities of that academy in his village. That, for me, makes this guy just stand out. As a human being, and what is sport? Sport is ultimately about character. And if this man is able to show this kind of character, for me, he's a hell of a human being. And only for that reason, I would want Natarajan to get every possible success in the world.
Beautiful. Really beautiful. Well, here's a question by one of the viewers that is a question which I find very interesting, and this is a question for all three of you. The question is, young cricketers watching this series, if anyone wants to be part of the Indian team, they should concentrate on bowling in the nets, even if they are batters. That gives them an edge to be selected in the Indian squad. I'll start with you, Deep, and then I'll move to Pragyan and Burida.
Right. There is a reason why my generation, we had a lot of top order batsmen who would bowl, like Viru would bowl. Almost everyone would bowl, to be honest. I mean, Saurabh would bowl. Obviously, SRT bowled everything actually. So there is a reason, and the reason being that we would have net sessions for 2.5 hours where the bowlers would bat as well and the batsmen would bowl. So there would be like, if there are 4 bowlers bowling, there'll be 2 or 3 main bowlers, and one of the batsmen would come and bowl to whoever was batting. So everyone would bowl in the nets. And if you look at how practice sessions have changed in the last 3-4 years or 2-3 years with the sidearm, with the bowling machine. So now bowlers don't generally, or rather the batsmen don't generally bowl in the nets that often. Right, they're busy with their own batting, their skill set, batting in the nets, get knocked, throw downs or the bowling machine. So naturally, a lot of batsmen don't bowl anymore in the nets, and that is this is nothing against the batsmen. It is how things have panned out in the last few years. So till 3-4 years ago, you'd be having batsmen bowling in the nets, and now that is what needs to happen. And this gentleman, whoever's asked that question, it's a very, very valid point. I mean, India would be maybe the only team where the top 6 does not bowl. I mean, every team you have somebody from the top 6 who can contribute with a few overs. India is the only team where nobody contributes, nobody does. And surprisingly, in the last few years, or even this generation, the upcoming generation, I don't see too many batsmen who bowls. I mean, I'm talking about the generation of Shreyas Iyer. For example, I was just talking to someone who was telling me that Shubman Gill was a very decent bowler and he would bowl in the nets till under 19. But now he does not bowl in the nets anymore. Till under 19, he would bowl seam-ups and stuff like that. So things like that. I think that's a very, very valid point. Just start bowling to 1 batsman, 2 batsmen, and see where it goes. For all you know, you might end up being a decent bowler who can contribute.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that the changes in the net sessions, with the inclusion of technology and of course the luxury of throwers, it has sort of worked against producing all-rounders.
Was that Pragyan?
Pragyan?
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I said.
See, I'll tell you the difference here is, those days when you used to have net sessions, you never used to have those, when you used to travel abroad, you never used to have those net bowlers coming in or, coming and helping you out, or those sidearms, or, those bowling machines. Those days, all these batsmen, they used to come maybe at times for fun, or maybe at times to fill in those gaps when you never had too many bowlers bowling at your lower order batsmen or the tail enders. So that's how slowly that culture was developed. But now when you see, you will have a lot of net bowlers. Matter of fact, if you look at Ranji Trophy nets as well, you will see a lot of practice bowlers there. Hardly any batsmen they come and bowl, because they are busy improving their main skills, because you're not required to bowl in the nets because of the cushion that you have with those net bowlers. I think this will be something which the team management and the senior boys will take into account, and maybe from now on they'll try and do something about it, because this is something which need to be addressed. At times you require a few 2 or 3 overs, not to bowl tight, but to disturb the batsman. So many times we've seen there's a big partnership, and someone like Sachin Paji or Dada, somebody, they come in and they disturb the batsman and they get them out. These are the tactics that they need to think about. Imagine a Virat Kohli. We've seen Virat bowl, come in and bowl a couple of overs. If he picks a few wickets, maybe 1 wicket, that would do wonders to our team. So maybe this is something then they will address, I'm very sure.
Okay. Well, Burada, if you take a look at the squad of Australia and India, the number of options that Australia has in the all-rounder list as compared to India is a bit alarming. And that's why this question. While the two gentlemen say that it's the next session, do you have any other reason to address it to?
Yeah, and it's very interesting what both of our experts have said. I mean, and it's quite strange, because with so much of T20, you would expect people with multi-dimensional skills coming to the fore. And frankly, like Hardik Pandya said the other day, the only place where you can look for another genuine all-rounder is the Pandya household. Other than that, I mean, everybody you have tried, whether it is a Shivam Dube or anyone, has been under par. In fact, I do think Ravindra Jadeja is a genuine all-rounder, like everybody has said. I do think Washington Sundar has the makings of a genuine all-rounder. Because if you see the way he batted in the IPL, if you see how old he is, if you see the way he is bowling, Washington Sundar has the makings of a fairly good all-rounder. And the other guy who I think has the makings of an all-rounder, who we have not utilized, is Shardul Thakur. If you see the way Shardul Thakur has played some cameos lower down the order, he can genuinely use the bat decently well lower down. And if Shardul Thakur is given the opportunity, maybe at 6 or 7, he can be one of your all-round options. So you've got to make do with what you have and create all-rounder options, which is why I think Washington Sundar and Ravindra Jadeja are so very important. Jadeja, I think, is at par with Shakib Al Hasan on current form in the world.
Yeah. All right. So I'll quickly drive your attention towards the comment section and get us back to the concussion. Many people in the comment section do not agree with the way India utilized Chahal and the way we utilized the rules. A lot of Indian fans don't agree with it. So we've got a Kasan Goel asking, do you think, is it fair for Australia? Because Jadeja kept on playing after getting hit on the head. Deep?
Right. From an Australian point of view, is it fair? No, it's not fair. I can understand Justin Langer being aggrieved, the Australians being aggrieved. I completely understand. And if I was on the receiving end, I would be. But you've got to understand that it is within the rules. So you really can't say that. And I also would like to hope, I would seriously hope that that there was a serious concern with Jadeja. Okay, head injuries are not easy. We cannot be messing around with head injuries. There is a big debate in football that they might be starting a concussion for head injuries in football. They might be starting some. So let's not take head injuries lightly here. So I can understand why the Australians feel aggrieved, or if you're on the receiving end, you would. And as a cricketing fan, also, I believe maybe the Indians played the rule or whatever. But if that's, I hope they did not, because that's the reason why the runner rule, we don't have runners rule anymore in batting, right? If a batsman is injured, he can't take a runner. The reason why that rule was changed is because people started, kind of started using that rule in their favor. So I hope India didn't do that. And also because of the fact that it's a head injury, we shouldn't be taking it lightly any which way. Again, being aggrieved, I understand that. Like I said, as a cricket fan, or if I was an Australian supporter, I would be aggrieved as well. But if it had happened against India, I mean, again, I would have taken it on the chin and moved on.
Yeah. Well, another question from Sports Addiction addressed to Boryada and Deep. Do you think there is a loophole in the concussion sub-rule itself which helped India today?
See, you can now interpret it in several ways, and you can say there is a loophole, there is a problem, it is not a airtight rule. As Pragyan very rightly said, every rule will have some kind of thing to use it. Now, there are two things here, and I've got very strong views on this. One, you are telling me that India cheated. I am not willing to believe India cheated. I am not willing to believe that Ravindra Jadeja doesn't play the game within the rules of the game. I am not willing to believe that Virat Kohli doesn't play the game within the rules of the game. Have you got proof? No, you haven't. If you've not got proof, shut up. Simple as that. If you do not have proof that Ravindra Jadeja seriously had an issue on his head, if you have proof to the contrary, come and prove it to us. If you do not, just keep quiet and shut up. Okay, number one. Number two, I mean, and this is a sore point for every Indian fan. The moment you tell me that, oh, you know what, Australia played within the rules, etc., etc., go back to 2008 and that grass catch of Michael Clarke, umpire Benson, hearing, I mean, come on, you are telling me that Sachin's son, who was sitting in that gallery, heard Andrew Symonds nick that ball, and Australia was 132 for 6, they went on to score 450, and that's what Monkey Gate happened. Do not give me this bullcock, okay? I mean, somebody who comes and says, I'm holier than thou in sport, he's not holier than thou. Nobody is. There is a rule, and that rule has been made by the International Cricket Council, not by Ravi Shastri and Virat Kohli. And as Deep said, the doctor is not Ravi Shastri and Virat Kohli's paid person there. David Boone is not India's paid person there. He's an ICC appointed match referee. By the way, he's a former Australian great. David Boone thought and decided that India is within the rules. India can only appeal. India cannot force their way. You cannot just go and snatch it. India can appeal. India appealed. It is within the match referee's domain to turn that appeal down. If an Australian match referee did not turn it down, just shut up, man. What are you talking? Go and check that Monkey Gate series in Sydney. If Michael Clarke claimed that catch, and we all know what happened, and because the two teams had agreed that we will not question an umpire's decision, they stuck by the rule. And we followed the rule. The result is Australia won that series that could have been won by India. So do not give me this thing. Do not. For God's sake, don't tell me India did something which is unethical and unfair, etc., etc. India played within the rules of the game, and the rules are there for a reason. Then you will say Mankading is wrong. Then you will say so-and-so is wrong. Then remove all rules and make it Australian rules football where there are no rules.
Fair point. Fair point. Moving on to the next question, Pragyan, this one's for you. We've got Ashish asking, if Jadeja is not available next match, will we see Shardul Thakur in the T20 squad?
I hope so.
Shardul Thakur in the squad? Yes, they can. They have all the luxuries. They have got so many boys sitting there. They can pick anybody they want. But in the playing level, it will be very difficult to replace Jadeja, because this match was straight away the difference that was created. It was Jadeja and Chahal. You know, one guy batted well, went out because of the concussion. The other one replacing him got you 3 wickets. So it will be a tough call who's going to come and play in the 11 next, and how they're going to solve that issue. Because had Jadeja not got those runs, it would have been very difficult for us.
Yeah. The problem is Chahal played really well. Had Chahal not played well, we wouldn't be having this discussion today. The thing is that Chahal really played well today.
No, but Ridhima, also there is a flip side to everything. No? I mean, there are rules, and there'll be somebody who at times will feel aggrieved because it has gone against them. But it is a genuine rule which needs to be part of every sport. Concussion is going to be part of every sport now. You know, I mean, American football, obviously there are movies about that, right? So football is thinking about it. So we can't take head injuries lightly, as I mentioned. And I would like to believe that you know, there was certain, Jadeja was seriously injured with that head thing. And a lot of times, I also understand, a lot of people say, would say that he went on to bat. But when the adrenaline is that high in your body, everything else takes a back seat. Pain and everything takes a back seat. Only when you settle down, then you start feeling pain, right? A lot of times you see a lot of players, or I'm not just talking about cricketers, I'm just talking about sports people. With pain, they continue playing. But once they settle down and everything calms down, then when the pain hits you. So it is quite possible that Jadeja did not feel it at that point in time. He went back into the dressing room, and once everything was calm, he felt it. So why are we looking at it so negatively? It could be a genuine issue with Jadeja, and I hope so. Like I said, because there are a lot of these rules which were misused in the past, and they are not part of cricket anymore. The biggest example is the runner rule. If India had a runner, if the runner rule was still there, Jadeja would have had a runner today. He could not, because a lot of people in the past have misused that rule. So I genuinely hope that it's not misused, and I think so that it wasn't misused.
Right. We've got another question. We've got Milind Gite asking, should India play Mayank in T20, keeping in mind the World Cup next year as opener, other than Rohit and KL? Deep?
Well, this series, I'd say if you haven't played him in the first game, don't play him. Just continue with KL Rahul and Shikhar. Let him go play the side game. Let him prepare for the. If he had played this one, then was a different thing. If he hasn't played the first one, there's no point. After one game, why do you want to let go of Shikhar? Or anyone else for that matter. Obviously, KL will be there, but why let go of Shikhar? It's just one game, so might as well let Shikhar play the whole series, and Mayank can start focusing on Test match cricket.
Boyada, should Mayank play T20?
Yeah, I agree. Maybe you can give him the final game if you wrap it up and you want to give him some more game time. You close it out next match. But why would you want to change after one game? After one game, it's been one T20I, and Shikhar Dhawan was good enough in the IPL, back-to-back hundreds. Your second highest scorer after KL Rahul. Your two top scorers are opening the batting for you, and after one game, you cannot drop anyone. And I really have strong views on this concussion substitute point. I can tell you 100 instances when I felt aggrieved about a football refereeing error inside the penalty box, including yesterday. I thought ATK Mohan Bagan was denied by the referee because the ball hit the fellow's elbow, and the referee didn't give the referee disallowed the goal. Now, how many times do you want to see that? How many times do you think, okay, the biggest problem in cricket today, you want to address that? Go address an umpire's call. First, you address an umpire's call when it is hitting the three stumps and it is umpire's call. That is, according to me, complete nonsense. A bowler who is feeling aggrieved. Have you? Now go address it. It is within the rules of the game. Sometimes it rolls in your favor, and because of the umpire's call, you benefit out of it and get 100, right? So you don't complain. An umpire's call is within the rules of the game. What do you throw at me? You throw at me the rule book saying, boss, it's umpire's call. It is within the rules. This is within the rules. Take it. Take it. Go challenge the ICC. Don't challenge the Indian team. The Indian team has done nothing wrong. And frankly, I believe Ravindra Jadeja. I believe the Indian team sportsman spirit. Having said that, if they haven't, sort of adhered to it, and if they have played within the rules of the game, they are 100 times eligible to do so. If they have used the rule, that is their job. Would you want an Indian team to go out and lose? Come on. This is a normal T20I. For once, take this as a World Cup semi-final or a final. You have a rule that you can exploit. Will you do it? Put yourself in that position. Will you do it? Will you not? If you don't do it, then you are the world's greatest virtuous human being that I have ever seen, and frankly, you don't exist.
Okay, we've got another question here. We've got Ganesh asking, and this one's for you, Pragyan. What advice would you want to give to part-timers as conditions have changed? New ball per 25 overs, pitches have slowed down, no grip for part-timers.
Advice for the part-timers would be very simple. Try. All good, Boyada?
Yeah. I just thought, all of a sudden, I thought the World Cup final, had that Ben Stokes bat 4 not happened, New Zealand would be world champions. Go tell them that, they did not play within the rules of the game. Go challenge the ICC and say, after 2 tied overs, England should have not won the World Cup. New Zealand should have won the World Cup. Go challenge these rules, no. What are you talking about rules, and India has not played within the rules of the game?
But you see, whenever there has been sort of, when the rules have come into discussion, fans have sort of raised questions for both teams. And I think this is just one of those instances where, again, the rule
and that is why we are
under the
saying,
debate.
what we are saying. We are saying
Yeah,
India
absolutely.
played fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
India played
Okay.
within the rules of the game. The rules of the game permit us to do so. We have done that. Finished.
There's a friend of mine who told me this. अगर चाय पे मक्खी गिरती है, आप चाय फेंक देते हैं. लेकिन जब घी में मक्खी गिरती है, तब मक्खी फेंक देते हैं.
Nice.
Right. So it's all situational, right? Very, very easy to say, "Yo, this is wrong." I mean, yeah, as Boria said, this had been a final, right? And everyone who talks about the run out at the non-strikers end, I won't call that man-cutting because I hate that term anyways. Run out at the non-strikers end. Listen, if that was World Cup final, last ball, you need a wicket. And somebody lets go of that. Would you ever kind of forgive that person? World Cup final. If it's a normal game, you say, "Oh, why did he do that?" Against morals and ethics and all. World Cup final, last ball, you do that. What will you do it then? I mean, would you not do it? So I think it's all situational.
If you lose a game, Riddhima, if you lose a game, you know what happens to people. Deep Dasgupta, Pragyan Ojha will tell you what happens to people. India versus Pakistan, Chetan Sharma lost that game to Javed Miandad bowling that full toss which went for 6 in Sharjah. Do you know after that what happened in the 1980s? He would be made to stand at airports behind every queue by Indian Airlines staff and not allowed to check in. And every time he would be waitlisted. Do you know how he was insulted and abused? Because he conceded that one ball. All his life, he had to go through that stigma. Chetan Sharma, for God's sake, who's won you that England series of 2 test matches, bowling one of the best ever spells. He was one of your best all-rounders, got a World Cup 100. That's what sport is all about. You mean to say you will play a World Cup final last ball, you've got a rule to exploit, and you will say, no, I will be the virtuous person and not exploit this rule, and I will lose. Come on, yaar. Who are you kidding me? If I was there, okay, I am putting my hand up, I will use this rule 100 times out of 100. If you have a problem with me, go challenge the International Cricket Council.
Fair deal. Coming back to the advice of the part-timers, Pragyan?
Yes, I think I know this is a different, the rules have changed. We have got 2 new balls coming and we have got extra fielder in the 30-yard circle. So I feel, you should know your strengths. The way Kedar Jadhav used to bowl, he exactly knew what he had to do. He was not there to look, a great bowler. He was there to just come and bowl those few overs. That's what you are supposed to do as a 6th or 7th bowler. It's very simple. Don't try and be brave. When I go into bat, a lot of batsmen, they used to tell me, don't try too many things. Go there, respect the ball, play with the batsman. That's what a part-time bowler should do, especially a batsman who's bowling. He has to keep things tight for the other end to generate those wickets for you. That's what is your job. As simple as that.
Yep. All right. That answers Ganesh's question. And since we are running out of time, I'm just going to take one last question. And sports addiction here on our comment section is just not letting concussion go. So here's a question, another one. You say, not taking anything away from Chahal, but Finch tried attacking every ball from Chahal cause they were angry at the sub and lost his wicket in the first place. Isn't it? Question mark. Deep?
I don't think so, but if that was the case, brilliant. So be it. If you think the Australians will get right up things like that, so that's brilliant. And I you know what? I was I'll be very honest. I was a little upset. Not upset, disappointed with the whole camaraderie I saw in the last few games. Everyone shaking hands, smiling, saying nice things to each other. India-Australia series is not supposed to be like that. India-Australia is supposed to be a little more, a little more fire there. So I think this is exactly. I mean, I think this incident will kind of fire it up a little bit, and it'll be interesting. I'm sure. Listen, tomorrow's newspapers across Australia, across India will be all about this. And I'm sure they'll fire it up. So will we. And it's going to be an interesting series from here on.
Yeah. Like you rightly said, what is an India
Deep is so right.
without a controversy?
I've got issues with my friend KL Rahul. I've got serious issues with my friend KL Rahul. He's not there to tell Cameron Green, oh, buddy, go well, etc. That is not KL Rahul's job. All this goody stuff can be after the game. If KL Rahul has to be goody, he's a good boy. Go be good boy after the game. During the game, an Australian guy who's messing up the first 3 balls, he's not there to comfort him and say, oh, you know what, let me cuddle you. We don't want a godfather out there as a wicketkeeper. KL Rahul is good enough to do his job as an Indian player. Post the game, any number of goody words for Cameron Green is welcome. Like Deep said, India-Australia is war. It is proxy war. It is war minus the shooting. It is war. Simple. There are no freebies here, no free lunches, no free words, no free handshakes, within the pitch during the time of the game. It is as simple as that. If KL Rahul wants to be a godfather to Cameron Green outside the game during IPL, he can be that.
Well, gentlemen, that's all the time we had. And like you said, though, it is war, and the war is on. And how? Now, Pragyan has predicted a whitewash, while Deep has said 2-1 in India's favor. Boreda, quick predictions from you for the series. It's a much easier job for you though now. One win down.
I think it's 2-1. It's a 3-3. I think it's a 3-3 in the white ball series, which will take it to the test matches. And I also think David Warner is not going to play the Adelaide test, which, if it happens, I think is evening things out hugely for India. If David Warner doesn't play, Australia is going to open with Joe Burns and Will Pucovski. Now, if that is the case, Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Shami will start jumping up and about with that pink ball in Adelaide. No Warner. Joe Burns with very few Sheffield Shield runs under his belt in an Australian side opens things up for India big time, and that series starts on an even keel.
Yep. Interesting. This series has turned out in really interesting ways. Quite the mystery that we'll watch unfold. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining on Sports Today. Thank you, everybody, for joining in, and I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. at Rapid News. You don't want to miss that. See you soon.